Good morning. I think my clock was set 1 hour different. Isn't it daylight savings soon? So today I'm drinking the same as yesterday, hot water with lemon, and it is going to have a little bit of honey in there. And I'm going to wait just a couple of seconds while I find my page of where we left off to see my friends log in. All right. We are on chapter 2. Give it 30 more seconds. I am sporting just like a plain shirt, very comfortable. This sweater from American Eagle. It's one of my favorites ever. I like it because it's so long and it's so like cozy. It just takes care of the whole thing. And then I'm wearing this cute necklace that one of my coworkers gave me. I need to like kind of tighten it up a little bit. And then my gold-plated necklace and earrings from Capri and Co. Jewelry. All right, I hope you guys can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? All right, chapter 2, discovering the source of problems. Attracted by light and heat, a moth flies into a flame. Stunned by the sounds of a guitar, a deer stands unaware of a hunter. Drawn by the scent of a flower, a bug is trapped inside. Attracted to taste, a fish rushes to a hook. Pulled to mud, an elephant cannot escape. Paltril Rinpoche's Sacred Word. I think it's from his book, Sacred Word. Our senses contribute to our ignorance, to our faculties of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling. Objects seem to exist in their own right. Present with this distorted information, the mind ascends to this exaggerated status of things. Buddhists call such a mind ignorant for accepting this false appearance instead of resisting it. The ignorant mind does not question appearances to determine if they are correct. It merely accepts that things are as they appear. Next, we become committed to the seeming truth of the concreteness of objects, thinking, if this is not true, what could possibly be true? As we do so, our ignorant misapprehension gets stronger. For instance, when we first encounter something or someone nice, we briefly take notice of the object of our attention, merely recognizing its presence. The mind at this point is pretty much neutral, but when circumstances cause us to pay more attention to the object, it appears to be attractive in a way that is integral to the object. When the mind adheres to the object this way, thinking that it exists as it appears, lust for the object and hatred for what interferes with getting it to set in. When our own self is involved, we emphasize that connection. Now it is my body, my stuff, my friends, obscuring its faults and disadvantages, and become attached to it as helpful in acquiring pleasure, whereby we are forcibly led into lust, as if we buy a ring in our nose. We might also exaggerate the object's unattractiveness, making something minor into a big defect, ignoring its better qualities, and now we view the object as interfering with our pleasure. Being led into hatred again, as if by a ring in our nose, even if the object does not seem to be either agreeable or disagreeable, but just an ordinary thing in the middle. Ignorance continues to prevail, although in this case it does not generate desire or hatred. As the Indian scholar yogi Nagarjuna says in the 60 stanzas of Reasoning, how could great poisonous afflictive emotions not arise in those whose minds are based on inherent existence? Even when an object is ordinary, their minds are grasped by the snake of destructive emotions. Cruder conceptions of I and mine evoke grosser destructive emotions such as arrogance and belligerence, making trouble for yourself, your community, and even your nation. These misconceptions need to be identified by watching your own minds. As the Indian thinker and yogi Dharmakirti says in his exposition of Buddhist thinking, in one who exaggerates self, there is always adherence to I. Through that adherence, there is attachment to pleasure. Through attachment, disadvantages are obscured and advantages seen, whereby there is strong attachment, and objects that are mine are taken up as means of achieving pleasure. Hence, as long as there is attraction to self, so long do you resolve in cyclic existence. It is crucial to identify and recognize different thought processes. Some thoughts merely make us aware of an object, such as seeing a watch as just a watch without any afflictive emotions like lust. Other thoughts determine correctly that an object is good or bad, but still do not introduce any afflictive emotions. These thoughts just recognize good as good and bad as bad. However, when the idea that objects inherently exist takes hold, fundamental ignorance has been introduced. As the mistaken assumption of inherent existence becomes stronger, lust or hatred become involved. The turning point from mere awareness to misconception comes when ignorance exaggerates the status of the goodness or badness of the object so that it comes to be seen as inherently good or bad, inherently attractive or unattractive, inherently beautiful or ugly. Ignorantly misjudging this false appearance to be fact opens the way for lust, hatred, and myriad other counterproductive emotions. These destructive emotions in turn lead to actions based on lust and hatred. These actions establish karmic predispositions in the mind that drive the process of cyclic existence from life to life. The root of cycling existence. The process I just described is how we are ruined by our ignorance and fixed to this round of suffering in life after life that we call cyclic existence. Some levels of mind which we normally identify as correct are actually exaggerations of the status of persons and things that create trouble for ourselves and others. Ignorance keeps us from seeing the truth. The fact that people and other phenomena are subject to the laws of cause and effect, but do not have essential being that is independent in and of themselves. You need to identify this process as well as you can, gradually developing greater and greater understanding of the sequence of events, beginning with dispassionate observation and culminating in counterproductive emotions and actions. Without ignorance, counterproductive emotions are impossible. They cannot occur. Ignorance is their support. This is why Nagarjuna's student, the Indian scholar Yogi Aryarveda, says, just as the capacity to feel is present throughout the body, ignorance dwells in all afflictive emotions. Therefore, all afflictive emotions are overcome through overcoming ignorance. Meditative reflection. Consider, number 1, does the attractiveness of an object seem to be integral to it? Does the attractiveness of an object, number 2, obscure its faults and disadvantages? Number 3, does exaggeration of the pleasantness of certain objects lead to lust? Number 4, does exaggeration of the unpleasantness of certain objects lead to hatred? Notice, number 5, how you, first perceive an object, then notice if the object is good or bad, then conclude that the object has its own independent basis for existing, then conclude that the object's goodness or badness exists inherently in the object, then generate lust or hatred according to your previous judgment. Okay, we're going to take about a minute to think about an object. And we're going to judge if it's good or bad. Is it attractive or unattractive? All right. I think we should keep going. If you want more time, you can pause this video later when you rewatch it or when you are watching it for the first time, and carry on when you're ready. Chapter number 3. All right. Why understanding the truth is needed. Much of our planning is like waiting to swim in a dry ravine. Many of our activities are like housekeeping in a dream. Delirious with fever, one does not recognize the fever. Paltral Rinpoche's sacred word. If you do not have insight into the way you see yourself in all things actually are, you cannot recognize and get rid of the obstacles of liberation from cyclic existence, and, even more important, the obstructions to helping others. Without insight, you cannot address any problem at its root or remove the seeds that might produce it in the future. To overcome The misconception that things and people exist as self-sufficient entities, independent of consciousness, it is essential to observe your own mind to discover how this mistake is conceived and how other destructive emotions arise with such ignorance as their support. Give that lust, hatred, pride, jealousy, and anger stem from exaggerating the importance of qualities such as beauty and ugliness. It is crucial to understand how persons and things actually exist without exaggeration. The only way to gain this understanding is internal. You need to give up the false beliefs you are superimposing on the way things really are. There is no external means of removing lust and hatred. If you are pierced by a thorn, you can remove it forever with a needle. But you can get rid of it. But you can get rid of an internal attitude. You must see clearly the mistaken beliefs on which it is based. This calls for using reason to explore the true nature of phenomena, then concrete on what has been understood. This is the path leading to liberation and omniscience. As Dharmakirti says, without losing belief in the object of an afflictive emotion, it cannot be abandoned. The abandonment of desire, hatred, and so forth, which are related to misperceiving advantages and disadvantages, is through not seeing those in objects, not through external ways. When you see that all troublesome emotions and indeed all problems arise from a basic misunderstanding, you will want to get rid of such ignorance. That the means to accomplish this is to reflect on reasoning that reveals the superimposition of a belief in inherent existence to be totally unfounded, and then to concrete on the emptiness of inherent existence through meditation. As Chandrakirti, a follower of Nagarjuna and Ayurveda, said, seeing with their minds that all afflictive emotions and defects arise from viewing oneself as inherently existent and knowing that the self is the object of this, yogis refute their own inherent existence. Ayurveda similarly says that realization of selflessness is the way to stop cyclic existence. When selflessness is seen in objects, the seed of cyclic existence is destroyed. When the root of a tree is cut, all the branches, twigs, and leaves dry up. In the same way, all the problems of cyclic existence are undermined by removing the misunderstanding that that is their cause. Okay, hold on. When the roots of a tree are cut, all the branches, twigs, and leaves dry up. In the same way, all the problems of cyclic existence are undermined by removing the misunderstanding that is their cause. Got it. The supreme scholar practitioners of India, Nagarjuna, Ayurveda, Chandrakirti, and Dharmakirti, understood that the truth cannot be realized without seeing that we superimpose on people and things a status of solidity and performance that actually is not there. The emptiness that the false misimposition must be understood, and to do their analyze phenomena through scripture and through reasoning. How to make meditation meaningful. I think I'm going to pause right there. We have okay, I'll just finish this page. It is crucial to understand this procedure because if you do not meditate on the absence of the mistake that is the root of ruination, your meditation will not address the problem at all, no matter how profound you may think your meditation is. Although you might succeed in withdrawing your mind from disturbing objects, this does not constitute being absorbed in the truth. You have to actively realize the objects simply do not exist in the way ignorance takes them to exist. If someone is suffering from fright because he or she mistakenly believes that a snake is just outside the door, it would not help to point out that there is a tree on the other side of the house. Instead, you need to show the person that in fact there is no snake outside the door. In the same way, you need to understand that the very objects you imagine to exist in of themselves do not actually exist that way in order to get over the problems with misperception creates. Merely withdrawing your mind from thinking about anything or merely thinking about something else will not get to the root of the problem. You have to put together that if objects really did exist in the way they seem to, the logical consequences would be impossible. And so, this basis, you can fully appreciate that phenomena do not exist this way. People and things may seem to exist concretely and independently from their own side, but you will know that they do not. Gradually, this awareness will weaken your misconceptions and diminish the trouble they cause. Since accepting appearances as truth in the basic problem, the antidote is to come to realize the falsity of appearances through reasoning. All right, y'all. We're going to pause right there. It's been 20 minutes. And thank you so much for tuning in. This will go on YouTube. Just look up Ms. Ruba Yogi and you will find all of my awesome videos. And if you want to see or keep hearing how to see yourself as you really are by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Avec Ms. Ruba, stay tuned on my Instagram at Ms. Ruba. Also, I hashtag Ms. Ruba, Ruba Yogi Reading. It's my alter ego. And then also Ruba Yogi Reading, How to See Yourself as You Really Are, and then the sequel per day. So Ruba Yogi, How to See Yourself as you really are, and then today is day 4. All right, y'all, have a wonderful Friday. Crush the weekend. No yoga, no reading tomorrow. Saturday I rest, but we'll pick it up on Sunday. All right, bye.